a lot of cognitive loopholes and shortcomings that inform our perception of the world. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are through a prism of expectations and cognitive biases. But this idea that we don't see the world as it is applies very much to what's happening with technology and innovation and disruption. Because I believe that technology is the embodiment of human imagination in the world. I believe that technology is the literalization of human creativity in the world. Right? I believe that technology is how we turn the human mind inside out, how we exteriorize the contents of our mind in the world, how we literally impregnate the world with the contents of our minds. This is the human story. We are the tool-making animal. To be human is to be transhuman, the creature that transcends its limitations and expands its boundaries. The big question is, what's the difference between the disruptions we're seeing today and the disruptions of the past? And I would say the only difference is that these disruptions in the past didn't happen as fast as they're happening now. So they accrued over many generations. So in the past, you were born and you died in a world that maybe saw one transformative innovation, and the world didn't change that much within a generational gap. And so, well, hell, the new generation was born in a new world and they adapted to it. But today it's different, because today the changes are happening in real time and within our own lifespans. And so it's a lot more for us to take cognitively. It's a lot more change and a lot more uncertainty and a lot faster. But basically, digital transformation, digital technology changes at an exponential rate. But human beings are linear thinkers. This is the cognitive bias that prevents us from making sense of what's happening. Because we still have a brain that evolved in a linear and local world. And now we're trying to contend with a global and exponential world. That's the cognitive dissonance. Your intuitions continue to be linear in an exponential world. If you take 30 linear steps, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By step 30, you're at 30, right? So 30 linear steps gets us to 30. That's intuitive to us. Because 100,000 years ago, there was a lion across the savannah and it was going to run towards us. We were making a linear calculation of how quickly it was going to get to us and eat us. Again, we're wired for linearity. But here's the kicker. If you take the same 30 steps, those exact same 30 steps, but you take them exponentially, you get to 1 billion. Right? This is the part that always gives me pause, and I've used this example 1,000 times. 30 linear steps gets you to 30, but 30 exponential steps gets you to 1 billion. 40 years ago, a supercomputer was the size of this building, and you needed special permission to get access to it. And in 40 years, that has shrunk down to a device in your pocket that is 1 million times cheaper, 1 million times smaller, and yet 1,000 times more powerful. One of the challenges is we're trafficking in a world of ideas, and in the media and in social media particularly, it's a race to the bottom in the attention economy. If it bleeds, it leads. And that creates a warped perception where we feel like everything's going to hell and we have no capacity to subvert that perception. Because we are storytelling animals, we respond to narratives right? The beginning of a personal crisis is when the story that you tell yourself about yourself is no longer convincing or self-serving. Depression and anxiety are the excessive rumination of a story, a self-story that has metastasized into one that is like self-destructive. And so we need to shed our old skin, right? We need to be willing to craft new narratives for humanity. Well, with the Internet of Things, we're bringing animism back. Everything will talk to us. Everything has agency. And the creative and commercial possibilities there to transport the human experience to realms that are far more interesting, engaging, intuitive, the future of wellness, the future of mental health, all this stuff we can totally play with by creating these very interesting immersive worlds on the back of connectivity everywhere, built, customized around every individual, giving everybody superpowers, essentially.